Next, we're going to run an extended simulation. Now, as I said, the map browser is for viewing your map. So now we're going to add what we call a time pattern. What is a time pattern? Will help you to simulate your network over a period of 24 hours or 72 hours or 48 hours, depending on the duration. In this case, we're going to simulate over a period of 72 hours. We're going to simulate for 72 hours because we believe if you can simulate your network for 72 hours and you didn't see failure or nothing fails, then that network is sustainable. So basically, in water reticulation system, we have what we call peak period, peak values. Peak period is that period of the day when there is the system is under stress, is under duress, or where the water demand is highest. For instance, in the 24 hours, generally speaking, there are 4 time patterns in 24 hours. Those time patterns are between midnight, 00 hours, to 6 in the morning is a particular time pattern. Then from 6 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon is a particular time pattern. From 12 in the afternoon to 6 in the evening is a particular time pattern. Then from 6 in the evening to 12 in the night is a particular time pattern. So there are 4 patterns in 24 hours. And these 4 patterns are the most critical times, both the lowest times and the highest times. The lowest time, of course, is between 12 midnight, which is 00 hour, to 6 a.m. Because during that period, it's better that everybody is sleeping. So water demand will be lowest. So you cannot use that parameter at that point to design your network. But then peak period cannot now start from 6 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon. That is when everybody is rushing to go to work. People need water. There's high demand for water to swim, to bathe, to wash cars, to do whatever, to cook for people in schools, or there's a demand. That's why we say peak period. And those peak periods are the values you use to design. So when you run your simulation over all the periods, over all the critical periods, and there is no failure, then you can beat your chest and say, I have done a good design. So to do that, you go back to data browser. This is your data browser on Epanet. You go back to Epanet. Remember what I told us? This is the network view, and this is the browser. If you go back to the browser, you open the flyout, and you go to, first of all, you go to patterns.
Sorry, your screen is not showing. Your screen is not showing.
Okay. So to add a pattern time to this network, so that after adding the pattern time, we'll now run our simulation through all the pattern time, and that will give us an extended simulation, But what we have done so far is more like a static simulation. So what we'll do is that you under data, you go to your data browser, you go to patterns, whatever. It will be blank as usual. But under here, you see one small symbol saying add. You now click on it. It will add something for you. The pattern ID is 1. Please don't forget, just like we did in pump curve. The pattern ID is 1 because you might have to go back and put this 1 into the running file. So that it will now use this file to run. Now, if you look at this one, it says time period. If you look at under it, you say multiplier. Time period, multiplier. Time period, multiplier. Under the first time period, you put 0.5. The first time period is that period between 0 in the midnight, 00 hour, to 6 a.m. in the morning. And believe me, most people are sleeping. Demand for water is low. So we assume that the demand for water is halved, or that the efficiency of the system is running at 50% capacity. That's why I say 0.5. Then from 6 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon, we say the system is running at 30% higher value. And that's what I mean by 1.3. Then in the afternoon, and mind you, we're talking about residential area. In the afternoon, there is almost like a balanced system. The system is flat. People are coming back from work. People are coming back from school, while others are also going to work. I mean, the system is just like balanced. So we put 1.0 there for the third one. For the fourth one, that is between 6 in the night, 6 in the evening to 12 midnight. we'll assume that the system is performing at 20% more than its capacity. That is 1.2. Enter. So those of you that are into water system or water board, if you check your pattern in residential areas, this is what you see. This is how a typical pattern is. In the night, it's always flat. Then it might not be necessarily perfect like this, but it'll be something close like this. Okay? It might not be exactly this. If you read the test I've sent, the exercise, the lecture notes, you see that the pattern can be curvy, can be meandering, but in ideal modeling, you take a block form modeling, it will look like this. So that is that. So with this now, we say, okay, we have created a what? A pattern. The next thing we do is that we'll use this our pattern ID 1 and put it in our simulation and ask the system, simulate this system based on this pattern ID 1. So I'll click OK. I will now go to here, this place I got pattern, this data flyout, and I'll go to options. Under my options, I'll go to times. Under my options, I'll go to times. I'll say edit. Under edit, total duration, I'll say 72. I want it to run for 72 hours. Hydraulic step time, I will say 1 hour. Then pattern time step, I will say 6 hours. That's what we did there. Remember what we did there? We did every 6 hours, the water pattern will change. That's what we did there. Then the other parameters, you leave it the way they are. So once again, I changed 2 things here. Number 1, the duration from 0 to 72, and then the pattern time step. I will change it to what? To 6. And enter. And that is all. I'm done. Okay. I will now go to my run again. I'll go to my run and then run the system. If the system cannot sustain itself, it will write unsuccessful. But because my pipes are well sized, the system is still successful. Even though I've increased some flow by 30%, I've increased demand by 30%, in some cases 20%. In some cases, I reduced it by 50%. It's still telling me that the system has the capacity to absorb those shocks. And that is the idea behind modeling and simulation. How does your system behave in adverse environment? How is it able to overcome if things are not the way they are meant to be? Will your system still perform? That is the major output of a model, or the major reason behind modeling and simulation. You simulate over a period of time, over a difficult terrain. You simulate over with some contingency, some exigency values, some emergency values that ordinarily will crush your system. And if they're not able to crush them, then you will be able to say, yes, I've done a good job. If I click OK, so remember what I did here. I changed it to 22 hours. I changed it to 6 hours, and that was all. And before I did that, I had to go to pattern and created a pattern that looks like this. It can be anything. You can create a 24 hours pattern, but let me create this. What I created now is a 6 hourly pattern within 24 hours. 6 hourly pattern. That's what I created. 6 hourly pattern. You can create 24 hours pattern. Look at it. It's up to 24. You can try to check that water is changing every 1 hour, which is not realistic. Every 1 hour, demand will change. Every 1 hour, demand will change. No, it doesn't work like that in real life. It can only change 4 times in a day. In the night, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. So I will run my network. It's so successful. Then I will now go to map. If you go to map, you see that this icon that looks like a DVD is on now. I can't see my drawing, so I will just go here and click on zoom extent. It will come back. If you click on this extent, your drawing will come back once you lost your drawing. So you can see now I'm going to run. If you click here now, you see that it is from 0 to 72 hours instead of writing single for you. So if I click on this icon that looks like DVD forward, the system will start to change. But before I do that, I should change this one. What parameters do I want to view? I want to view the head, the pressure at the node, and then the velocity at the pipes. I'll press go. Now I want to be checking it. You see that my system is changing. You see my head is changing. In my water tank, the head is at the point, the head was a 3. It was 6. You see here, the velocity here was so bad that the thing changed to red or so high. Other times it was okay. So at a particular time, we're having high velocity in pipe 6. So you take note. You take note. Velocity less than 0.1 will give you this. The good news, there's no velocity that is less than 0.1 based on our legend. And remember, if you right click on the legend, you can change anything. You can change the color. You can revamp the color. You can do a lot of things. So this is now your extended simulation. Extended simulation. And now listen to this. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to produce the results. So number one, let me produce my final report. So if I click on report, I'll click on full report. Please be careful with this. When you click on full report, you have to go to a location where you can know it. And I will save it as, let me save it as Dubai reports. And I'm saving it inside on my desktop. I'm going to delete it shortly. And it's coming as a report file. Watch this. I'll click save. It has saved the report. If I want to view the report, all I need to do is to go to my desktop. If I go to my desktop, you can see my desktop. This is Dubai reports. I'll right click on it and I'll say open. Open with Word. I'll go and choose Word. Open with Word. Open with Word. It's opening with Word. Now it has opened. So gentlemen, look at my reports of what we did, the job we just did now. Look at the reports, giving me all the parameters about the network. How many pages are they? They must be very, very massive. About 50 pages. So this is your report of the simulation we just did. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to produce your report. Once you produce your report, you have reached a milestone. Remember how I produce my reports. It will be hard for some of us, but just relax, you're going to get it right. I go to report, I say full reports. There are other 2 types of reports. We will come to that shortly, but full report. When you open full report, I went to somewhere I know, somewhere where I can locate it and saved it with a funny name, Dubai report. And then when I finished, I now went to that location, right click on the file, and then opened it with Word. Okay. Now, if you check all these things now, you see that I can run my simulation over a period of time and it will give me the result I need. All I need to do is to come to Node and tell him, okay, I want to see the base demand, or I want to see the demand. And I'll click run, or not run, sorry, I'll click on this DVD. Look at the DVD, play. The system will be playing. Can you see it? The demand is changing. The demand in anywhere is changing based on the current water demand. Instantaneous real-time water demand is bringing it out. So this is how to create a demand pattern, and then this is how to run it on Epanet. You create a demand pattern. Once again, what do? You go to pattern, you create the pattern, and then impute the time for the pattern based on 6 hourly pattern, 0.5. You can change, it can be 2 points, you can increase it by 20%, by 200%, sorry. But me, I increase my own by 30% and by 20%. And that's occurring in the last pattern time and the first pattern time. While I have the capacity of the system when people are asleep at night. So after creating the time pattern and allowing it to be 1, I will now Yeah. Okay.